Titanium as a watchmaking material is more comfortable to wear every day as it's significantly lighter than stainless steel. It's also 3 times stronger, making it more durable and resistant to damage. Not only that, but it's hypoallergenic and has a high resistance to corrosion. This makes it a great material for people who are regularly working in harsh environments or those with sensitive skin. There are downsides though. Titanium does show scratches more easily, and they are more prominent because of the oxide layer that will form on their surface. It is possible to treat titanium alloys to improve scratch resistance, but that adds to the cost. That is the other downside, unfortunately. Because of the desirable qualities of titanium and the fact that the manufacturing process is more complicated, it does tend to cost more. The premise of this video is to try and find what I believe to be the best budget titanium watch options available under $1,000, with a simple rule set that I've followed. Each watch has to be available for less than $1,000 at the time of writing. At least the case of the watch needs to be made from titanium, and for the sake of variety, each brand will only feature once on the list. With all that said, let's get into the video. In all honesty, I think the only way you could get a quality titanium watch for less than this is if you found a better deal on this exact model than I did. You even get quite a wide range of choice when it comes to dial and bracelet or strap options, and most are either just over or under $100. But I'm sure it's possible to go lower than the price I've quoted at $85, especially if you search during one of their big sale windows. While it isn't stated, the movement is, as far as I can tell, a Seiko NH35 automatic, and the crystal is sapphire too, so some serious specs here when you throw in the fact that this watch is made of titanium. I'm personally not a fan of the 4 o'clock date window or crown, but if that bothers you, their Sea Turtle diver is also available in titanium for around $30 more. I was debating on including a titanium model from San Martin on this list, but they all seem to feature Tudor's trademark snowflake hands, so I won't be showing them here. Of course, this model from Heimdallr is a shameless homage, right down to the name, but the spec sheet for the asking cost is so good I think it would be an oversight not to include it. The crown, case and bracelet are all grade 3 titanium. There's sapphire crystal with AR undercoating, a Seiko NH35 automatic movement, a mill clasp and even C3 luminova. A very impressive spec sheet accompanied by an unoriginal but very nice dial to boot. This is a chunky watch at 44.3mm in diameter, but its lug to lug is only 46.4mm. So if you can look past it being a homage, this is definitely a great value titanium option. The Field Medic 2 is the only titanium watch I've had personal experience with to this point, largely because as a person and channel who focuses primarily on budget offerings, titanium is not something I usually consider given its often higher price point. I actually purchased this watch to have something light on my wrist while I trained and then ran the London Marathon. I can't claim it helped in that regard, given that it still took me almost 5 hours to finish, but it was a loyal training companion nonetheless. Equipped with a Mecha Quartz movement, rated to 200 meters of water resistance with chronograph and date functionality, plus that titanium case, the Field Medic 2 is a really strong value proposition, and if you aren't a fan of this colourway, there are many more on offer. My original instinct was to feature a ProTrek model from Casio, as I think they are thematically appropriate given all of their sensor functionality, which combines well with titanium's corrosion resistance properties if you're headed to tough environments. Unfortunately, as the range only features titanium bands, it's not really eligible for this list. I've fallen back instead on a model that I'm sure you know well. I don't think the Oceanus needs much introduction, but I would add that if you want one, avoid the new US pricing, which starts at over $1,000. Import one from Japan, and even after import tax, you'll be much better off. This is a very much does what it says on the tin kind of model. A 40mm titanium dress watch, which is a sleek 8mm thin, has 100 meters of water resistance, a titanium case and bracelet, and sapphire crystal. Great value for $310, but not the only reason I wanted to feature it. I found this model being sold brand new on eBay. But if you type in Seiko titanium as a search query, my goodness, the amount of choice you get is mind-boggling. If you try and do the same thing on the official Seiko website, you're greeted with a few models starting north of $1,000. On eBay, they might be second hand, but you can have your pick, and most models are closer to $100 than $1,000. Happy hunting. The ProMaster Tough range might look very straightforward and no nonsense on the surface, but boasts a genuinely impressive set of credentials given its price point. As we discussed in the introduction, titanium is a harder material to work with than stainless steel in terms of manufacturing. Well, Citizen have taken that as a challenge here and produced the ProMaster Tough with a monocoque case. Essentially what that means is there is no case back here. The movement goes in through the front. These cases are harder to manufacture, but also have less openings for water ingress, are more rigid and can be completely flat, and therefore more comfortable on wrist. One thing that the research process for this video revealed to me is just how many Spinnaker models there actually are. I've seen a few of their affordable ranges before, but I hadn't come across the Taisei. You can spec this model with either a Japanese or Swiss movement, but you'd be paying around $200 more for the Swiss option. There are some other subtle differences too. The tone of the colour you choose will also be different, and the Swiss variant has a TI chemical symbol on the dial. A word of caution though, something else I have discovered about Spinnaker's more desirable models, they are quite hard to get hold of, so expect a challenge of a hunt if you want a Taisei. I came to the realisation when looking at this model, I don't think I've ever featured a gents Tissot model that wasn't a PRX on the channel. Well, let's change that situation now with the Powermatic 80 Tissot Gentleman, a go anywhere, do anything style watch. You will pay around $100 more in terms of recommended retail price for the titanium version over the stainless steel options. And you'll also find yourself considerably more limited when it comes to dial choices as a result. On the surface, it might not feel like a great deal, as all you're getting visibly at least is the word titanium on the dial. Other than that, it's quite hard to tell the difference. However, tangibly, on the wrist, the experience will change dramatically, with the titanium model weighing in over 60 grams lighter than its stainless steel brother. As with any video I make, it's never going to be possible to keep everyone who watches happy, but I do think I would be particularly harshly judged if I didn't include an RZE model on this list. I apologise to my British viewers for the pronunciation there. They are well known for their work with titanium and have their own proprietary ultra hex coating which increases the hardness of their models dramatically compared to competitors. I was tempted to feature their new offering, the Fortitude GMT, but I think the Resolute Pro, particularly this model boasting an enamel dial, is actually the best watch they produce, both in terms of looks and specifications. I do think with some more shopping around, it will be possible to get this model for less, particularly if you live in the US. Much like the Oceanus, I don't think the khaki field range will need much introduction for anyone watching this video. It's a very tough ask to find a more respected and well-loved field watch range, and even more challenging still to find one that also features Swiss made on the dial. I think this particular model, the H70665533, is one of the most attractive in the range. The black PVD coating over the titanium case looks great, and you're also getting an in-house movement to go with it. The only drawback for me personally is the size at 42mm, but other than that, it's really hard to find fault with. That brings us to the end of my list, but what are your thoughts on it? I'd be keen to hear in the comments section below. You might have noticed from the choices and the focus towards the lower end of the price range that given the increased price point of titanium, I really wanted to hunt for bargain offerings worth your time. But as you can see from the footage I've used, I've not had that much personal experience with titanium, and I'm sure there are many of you out there who will have some other suggestions to include. I'd just like to add that this video was produced based on a viewer request, so if there is anything else you'd like to see me focus on, please let me know. As ever, thank you for your time. If you've enjoyed what you've seen or found it informative, consider dropping the video a like and subscribing to the channel if you want to see more content like this.